In this video, I'm going to give you 20 construction marketing ideas so that you can get more leads for your remodeling business. I'm also going to provide my recommendations and simple next steps so you can get started with these ideas right away in your business.
I'm Spencer Powell, CEO at BuilderFunnel. We're on our way to generating $1 billion in revenue for our clients. Hit subscribe to follow along.
So we're going to break this down into several different categories. And the first one is one-to-one outreach. This bucket is warm audience, right? They already know you, they're already familiar with you versus people that don't know you. And so this is going to be your low-hanging fruit. Typically, the easiest way to reach out to these people, phone, text, or email. Obviously, you can swing by their house or their office, but email is typically the fastest and easiest way. And the general approach here is that you just want to reach out to these people and say, hey, I'm looking to scale up my business right now, and I currently have a few openings for design or for construction projects. Is there anyone I should get connected with? That is going to be one of the fastest and easiest ways to generate some opportunities right away. Next up is going to be cold outreach. So these are going to be referral partners that maybe you've never connected with. So that could be a designer, a realtor, an architect, and you're going to be reaching out to them and saying, hey, I'd like to form a connection, a partnership, some type of relationship here. You can also hop into some Facebook groups or some LinkedIn groups. And you're basically going to form some email templates and some outreach scripts and text where you can say, hey, I'm reaching out, I'd love to connect. And the goal here is that you want to turn this cold audience and then build them into your warm bucket. This bucket is going to take a lot more outreach to get any type of replies or responses and connections. But the good news is it's also a free channel.
Okay, the second bucket is digital advertising. So there's lots and lots of different things that you can do for digital ads, but we're going to keep it simple. You've got Google Ads and you've got Meta Ads. So let's look at Google Ads. If you're looking to get more leads from this channel, the ideal setup is that you're going to run some search campaigns, meaning you're going to basically go to Google and say, hey, when somebody types in these very specific keywords, I want my links to show up at the top. And so it allows you to target based on intent. So with Google, you want to make sure that all of the keywords that you're targeting have some buying intent behind them, or they indicate that they're trying to locate somebody to help them do their project. When we shift over to Meta and we're looking at Facebook or Instagram, we have a different approach because there we're basically saying, hey, we want to find the right audience. We don't actually know who of those people is looking to remodel or build a custom home now or in the near future. So the goal there is different. The goal there is to build more of the right audience, but we know part of the next strategy is saying, hey, how do we build value with this audience? How do we build trust? How do we stay in front of this audience? And that's where you can shift to more of an email strategy once you've captured their information. Okay, our next bucket of ideas is in the content marketing and SEO bucket. So this is going to be things like website content, project spotlight pages, blog content, video content, and social media. Content has been a term that has been thrown around for years and years now. And it's interesting because if you actually go back and look at some really old school examples of content marketing, one of my favorite ones is the John Deere company. Back in the early 1900s, maybe even into the late 1800s, they were looking for methods to build awareness and grow the sales of their farming equipment. And they created a magazine. And the whole goal of that magazine was to educate farmers on farming best practices, how to be more productive, more efficient, make more money with their farming endeavors. But then of course, within the magazine, they could advertise tractors and the other machinery that they sold. And so if you think about what that was, it really was a content marketing strategy, and it was a value-driven strategy. Fast forward to today, and you just apply that same kind of thinking to it, the medium looks different. And so when we think about content marketing and SEO, what we're trying to do is really attract people to our content. And if our content is adding value, those people want to stay engaged with us. So when you're talking about the services that you deliver or how much it costs or what the timeline is, those are all great website pages, and you're educating and adding value. When you build a project spotlight page, you can say, hey, I really want to showcase my work, but I'm also talking about the process and the thinking that we went from, hey, this old house, here's how we transformed it, here's how we incorporated some modern elements into it, and you can tell that story, which is adding value in the way of inspiration, giving somebody ideas about their own home and how they might be able to transform their living experience. On the plus side, we can also integrate keywords into both website content, project spotlights, but also into our blog content, where we can basically say, hey, what are people typing in to Google so that I can get found? And then once I do get found, I want to ensure as they're reading the content, that's where we're delivering the value. Video content works much the same way. It's just a different medium. You're still going to communicate your expertise. You're going to build some status. A lot of it is stuff that you already know right up here in your head, and you're just pouring it out into either video or web content. And then finally, there's also social media content, which is really just a blend of the other two. A lot of it's video-based, some of it's photo-based, some of it is text-based. But again, you're trying to add value to your audience. And so when you think about this whole bucket of content marketing, it stems from education-based, value-driven marketing. And if you do that at scale, and you do that in enough places, and you do that targeting the right keywords and getting it in front of the right audience, you really start to build this big web of connections and people that are following you online and getting a ton of value. And it positions you as the go-to expert and the go-to company when it comes time for them to start their project. The next bucket of ideas is going to be offline advertising. So this is going to be things like truck wraps, job site signs, direct mail, door hangers, and then you've got radio and TV. But let's talk about trucks and job site signs. I think a great way to get started here is having every single one of your vehicles wrapped. You get the big advantage of repetition, people seeing you in the neighborhoods that you're working in as you're driving around, and the more vehicles you have on the road across your team, then it just multiplies the exposure that you're getting. I think tying that in with really good job site signs, you really start to get a nice amplifier on the brand exposure and the repetition in someone's mind as they're driving to and from work, running errands back to their house, and they're seeing the trucks and the job site signs over and over and over again. With offline advertising, a lot of it is about the consistency and the repetition. Definitely applies to trucks, truck wraps, and job site signs. Next up, you got direct mail and door hangers. These are good examples of saying, hey, I know the exact neighborhoods, the exact zip codes that I want to target, and I can do that basically at scale or in a very targeted approach or even a one-by-one approach. In this bucket, I really like a couple of approaches. One is radius mailing. So if you're doing a job at a house and you're like, I love this neighborhood, would love to do more work in this neighborhood, doing a radius of 100 or 200 right around that household, and then doing one at the beginning of the job that you're working on, one in the middle, and then one at the end. Letter mailings are great for those because you can have a personal letter from the owner. You can also do some targeted mailings by just saying, hey, I've never worked in this really high-end neighborhood, but I would love to. And so I'm going to basically say, we're going to hit these 5,000 homes, and we're going to do that every 2 weeks for the next 6 months. And we're going to test the response rate on that. That would be more of a targeted outreach approach. Door hangers, I would follow the same methodology as the radius mailings. Hey, we're doing a job right here, so we're going to do door hangers on 100 doors around. You get, again, the compounding effort of repetition and branding, and especially if you've also got your trucks wrapped and your job site signs, now you've got some door hangers, plus people are getting direct mail, you can really start to saturate the areas that you want to work in. Next up would be TV and radio, and I don't have a ton of expertise in those two buckets, but those would also fall into the offline advertising. The one thing that I do have a high degree of confidence on is if you want to be successful with TV or radio, you need to have a very long time horizon and you need to be very, very consistent. From all the research that I have done and the people that I have talked to that have been successful, they are successful when they commit to a multi-year, and they're really just thinking in like decades approach in terms of the branding opportunities they have with TV and radio. Our last bucket of ideas is campaigns. So there are a number of different campaigns that can be extremely effective for you. You can run a webinar or a seminar. You can do some type of giveaway or promotion, or you can do a customer appreciation event or a party. So that could be an anniversary for your company. It could be a holiday party. Be a summer party, basically just pick any reason to do a party. And then you could also do a basically a customer appreciation like project launch party. With a webinar or a seminar, you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to host an educational event and I'm going to invite people to that event. And again, it doesn't matter if you're doing it online or in person, but you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to invite you. I'm going to talk about the design build process, the advantages of design build, and we're going to walk you through that in an hour. We're going to have snacks, drinks, and we can answer any of your questions. It's a great way to see who in your database, who in your audience online is really ready to take another step closer to the sales process. And most likely what you'll find is that a handful of those people that attend the event will also immediately reach out and say, I actually am ready to talk about my project. Another one would be a giveaway or a promotion. These are typically good if you strategically pick a time that is slower. And so you're saying, hey, I really need to fill my calendar and I'm willing to do kind of a little bit extra, versus when you're busy, you may not have the bandwidth or the desire to want to add that in. So again, you can pick the campaign based on the season of the year or the season that your business is in. In terms of the customer appreciation parties, again, that could be your anniversary, it could be a holiday party, summer party. It's basically just an excuse to say, hey, I want to get my audience, my past customers, my leads in my database, my referral partners, I want to get them together. I'm going to add value to them through having a good time and basically say, hey, thanks for being in my network. And the goal here is that you're building some brand awareness, you're building some goodwill. But again, usually a handful of people, they're coming there and then they're also saying, hey, when can we book some time to talk about my project? And then the final bucket is really that project completion, and you're really honoring the customer and that project that just wrapped up and hosting some type of open house or party for them. You're right there ready to book some meetings with anyone who's like, wow, this looks amazing. We've been thinking about XYZ over at our house too. Can we talk about that? These all fall under that campaign bucket, again, because it's typically an event. And so you've got promotion leading up to the event, you hold the event, and then after the event, you're going to follow up with everyone that attended, that registered, and you're going to make your attempt to book meetings and start to move some of those people into the sales process. So where you are in your business depends on which channel and how many of these that you'll want to get going or keep doing. But if you had to ask me for my top 5, I would say 1, trucks wrapped and nice job site signs for every job in your ideal neighborhoods. Number 2, the one-to-one outreach, and that would be ongoing. Number 3, content marketing, meaning blogs and videos. Number 4, Google Ads. And number 5, seminars. Hopefully this video gave you lots of different marketing ideas that you can get started with to generate some more leads for your business. And if you want to engage with our team and 300 other remodelers in Remodeler Growth Community, we'll have a link down below. Hop in there and you can join the discussion. And with that, we'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.